Hold my mic. 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 Hello, Kenya! Episode 5 is here, meaning somehow against all odds, the country is still functioning, politicians are still talking, and I'm still here trying to make sense of it all. Welcome to Hold My Mic, the only show where the truth comes with a side of mild emotional damage.
Emotional damage!
My name is Willis Raburu. We begin. Drop the beat! Now today we kick off our grand tour into East Africa's political circus with Tanzania, where Independence Day magically transformed into Stay-at-Home Day, courtesy of the government. You heard that right. Tanzania marked its Independence Day on December 9th, and normally that often includes military parades, speeches, cultural dances, and the occasional head of state waving like a bride on her wedding car. But this year, the people had other plans. Tanzanians wanted to use the day to protest what almost the entire world has called a sham presidential election. Opposition parties were banned, their leaders jailed, the internet was switched off, and protests erupted across the country, leaving hundreds, possibly thousands dead at the hands of police. And after all that, President Samia Suluhu was declared winner with a nice, healthy 98% of the votes. 98%! The kind of number you see in North Korea or in those Nigerian movie elections where even the ghosts they vote to. And to make it even more poetic, she was sworn in at a military base because, I mean, nothing says free and fair elections like taking oaths surrounded by men carrying guns. So when December 9th came around, the people planned two things: a national protest and a national mourning. But the government had other ideas.
Rais Samia
ni watoe hofu kwamba hakutakuwa na nywinywi wala nywinywi wala nywinywi, hakutakuwa na nywinywi wala nywinywi.
Rais Samia
nywinywi wala nywinywi.
Instead, they cancelled even the normal Independence Day celebrations, declared the planned protest illegal, and ordered everyone to stay at home.
Nimewaita hapa kujaribu kutumia vyombo vyenu vya habari kuwaambia Watanzania maandamano hayo ni haramu, hayaruhusiwi.
Serikali inawashauri wananchi wote ambao tarehe 9 Disemba 2025 hawatakuwa na dharura kuitumia siku hiyo kwa mapumziko, hivyo kusherehekea siku hiyo wakiwa nyumbani, isipokuwa kwa wale ambao majukumu yao ya kazi yanawataka kuwepo katika vituo vyao vya kazi kama ambavyo wataelekezwa na viongozi wao.
And so roads that should have been packed with patriots waving their country's flag looked like scenes from a zombie apocalypse. The only thing walking outside that day was a government boot looking for a protester to step on.
Sasa hivi ni saa 3. Barabara zina watu. Siku kusherehekea uhuru, watu wamefungiwa ndani kama panya.
It felt like a pandemic lockdown, but with one major difference. The virus in Tanzania isn't COVID-19, it's the government. Now let's be honest, the Tanzanian government didn't ban protests because of safety, they banned them because of fear. Fear of the people, fear of accountability, fear that the truth might go viral even with the internet switched off. Because think about it, a vote that gives one party 98% with the opposition banned, the internet shut down, people shot dead for protesting. Then when citizens try to mourn, you lock them down and you lock down the entire country. Come on, that's like a thief locking you inside your own house and saying, it's for your safety. Now, to the government of Tanzania, you can control the streets, you can control the votes, you can control the internet, but you cannot control common sense. Even with the internet off, the world is watching. And it is still watching because the government that fears its own citizens has already admitted defeat. Independence Day is meant to honor freedom. But if your citizens have to whisper their opinions, that's not independence. That's a Catholic boarding school in around 1998. Now, let's come back home where our own brand of chaos continues to thrive. The Kenya Kwanza government came into office preaching the bottom-up agenda. You know, lifting the little guy empowering the people, na hizo jaba zingine pale walikuwa nasema. And in true Kenyan fashion, they've delivered, just not quite the way anyone expected. The cost of living was down. Now it's up. Taxes were down. Now they're up. The national debt was down. Now it's up and climbing faster than my heartbeat when I check my M-Pesa balance after the weekend. School fees, healthcare, transport, groceries, you name it. Anything that used to cost less now costs just a little bit more. Sometimes a lot more. And yes, my friends, that includes corruption. Remember when retired President Uhuru Kenyatta told us that Kenya was losing about 2 billion a day? Well, President William Ruto and his team apparently got into office and took that as a challenge. After all, he did say he was going to improve on all the projects he began with Uhuru, even if that project is how to creatively steal public funds.
Uhuru Kenyatta, my brother William Ruto, and help us take Kenya to the next place.
Apparently, according to a new report by the Institute of Social Accountability, or TISA, Kenya is now losing 3 billion Kenyan shillings a day to corruption. That's a whole billion shillings extra just to show off. Think about that for a moment. 3 billion Kenyan shillings gone daily in a month. Now that's 90 plus billion flushed out. In a year, we're talking about 1 trillion shillings, Elon Musk type, disappearing into the black hole nobody knows where. Do you know what 90 billion Kenyan shillings can do? That's enough money to stock public hospitals with medicine, to build fully equipped level 4 facilities, and still have enough left over to pay thousands of doctors without them threatening to strike every 3 weeks. Thika superhighway that was supposed to be dualed was constructed at a cost of 30 billion. And so with 90 billion, you could build 3 Thika superhighways. You could feed and educate millions of school children, wipe out pending bills for counties, and even build a couple of stadiums. That is money that could transform Kenya, but instead it's disappearing into briefcases and offshore accounts of ghost contractors who don't even know where the project site is. And do you know how the government plans to deal with the theft of billions per day? Here is your Treasury Cabinet Secretary.
If we are stealing 2 billion per day, assuming we reduce the theft, we don't want to stop it, we just say, okay, if you have been stealing 1,000, please steal only 500 shillings. If you have been stealing 100,000, steal 50,000. If there could be that, I don't know whether to call it conscious decision, but if there could be such a decision, ridiculous as it sounds, we would be saving 1 billion shilling per day, which would accumulate to 365 billion shillings. That is more than the external borrowing.
So John Badi, the man holding Kenya's national wallet, our baba with funds, the bouncer at the door of our taxes, has looked at the crisis, surveyed the wasteland of lost billions, adjusted his glasses and declared with full confidence, guys, punguzeni tu kidogo, musiwache, lakini bakishene kiasi tu. Yani, hapa ndio tumefika sasa. The Treasury CS has officially stopped fighting corruption and has now moved into corruption management. It's like catching a burglar in your house and saying, Mana, don't steal the TV and the fridge. Be reasonable. Just pick one. That is the government's plan, ladies and gentlemen, not to stop theft. No, that's too ambitious, too idealistic for them. The new strategy is if we can just get the thieves to behave kidogo too, we can pay our debts. Imagine if your doctor told you, we can't stop the malaria, but if we can convince the mosquitoes to bite you kidogo too, half as much, you'll be fine. My friend, what country is this? At this point, corruption isn't a vice, it's a government department. It has KPIs, it has targets, it has tea breaks. And you know the worst part? The moment he said, let's reduce the ceiling by 50%, somewhere in government, someone whispered, challenge accepted. Because if we're already losing 3 billion a day, and the official plan is to plead with thieves like toddlers in a supermarket, then Kenya is not being run like a country anymore. It's being run like a group project, where the group members are all thieves, and the project is you, dear taxpayer. So brace yourselves, good people. The government is no longer promising to end corruption. They are simply asking the thieves politely, humbly, wacheni kuiba vibaya hivyo bwana. Ibeni kidogo tu, because apparently, folks, that's our new anti-corruption policy. All right, let's now take a look at some wildlife news. And I'm not talking about politicians in parliament, because if politics doesn't give you enough adrenaline, then Kenyan animals may very well just finish the job. So President William Ruto, he was in Tsavo West on Tuesday to launch the brand new Rhino sanctuary, which was a big win for conservation, a proud national moment. But it was apparently also the day one particular rhino decided to choose violence. Now, as soon as the rhino was released, he looked around, sniffed the air, saw the truck carrying the president and said, these are the people who signed the wildlife budget. Boom! He charged straight at the convoy like a disgruntled taxpayer who finally found the right office. For a second there, it looked like Kenya was about to witness the first wildlife-led impeachment. And honestly, if there's one person who probably saw that rhino and thought, huyu ndiye anaweza tusaidia, it must be President Ruto's former deputy, Rigiji, because ever since the political divorce, Rigiji has been recruiting anything with a heartbeat and anger issues to join his rebellion. If he was at Tsavo that day, he would have probably walked straight up to the rhino like this.
I want to tell you, my brother, you are a good leader. Ukifukuzwa na William Ruto, you are welcome to DCP.
And the rhino would have been the perfect addition. I mean, it already charges without warning. It already hates being controlled. And most importantly, it already hates Ruto, which is Rigiji's recruitment checklist. It's really the only qualification. At this point, the only thing missing is a press conference where the rhino is standing behind Rigathi, looking confused but angry, like half the MPs in his faction. Because in Kenya politics, if you show even 5 seconds of resistance to authority, boom, you are promoted, my friend, to senior opposition strategist. If we're being honest, the rhino showed more political strategy in 3 seconds than some opposition party leaders have shown in the past 2 years. It assessed the situation, located the problem, and acted. No committees, no task forces, no press conferences, just vibes and velocity. You know, Kenyan politics is broken when the most decisive opposition move of the year came from wildlife. Na isi mambo ya hii mambo tutaongea nyumbani. Moving on swiftly. Do you people remember this guy? No? You don't? Okay, maybe this will jog your memory.
Party after party, after party after party. Yeah. Party after party. Yeah. Party after party. Yeah. Party after party after party.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves for the return of the Mac, or rather the mic. Because guess what? Mike Movie Sonko has officially re-entered the chat, and this time he's not borrowing anyone's party, he's built his own. A whole new political party. And the man did all this while still barred from running for office because of his impeachment. It's like a man who's been banned from a club but comes back as the DJ. Now let's be honest, Sonko registering a new political party is the most on-brand plot twist of 2025. This is the same man who once walked around with gold chains, designer tracksuits, and more bling than a Nairobi wedding committee. A man who, during his arrest, looked like he was fighting off demons only he could see. And yet, he's still one of the most popular grassroots politicians in the country. Why, you ask? Because when it comes to pure, uncut street influence, Sonko is basically Nairobi's unofficial social welfare ministry. He pays school fees, he sends ambulances, he buys coffins, he clears hospital bills, he has his own rescue team that arrives faster than the county emergency services, Hai Sakaja. If Sonko could manufacture electricity, half of Nairobi would be connected, illegally, but efficiently.
Mama hai. Asanteni sana. Sasa nimesema mumechoka, sasa kuweka sana, si ndio? Mungu amenigusa, mwende mkaombe Mungu sana. Amen. Nimelipa bili zenu zote. Amen. Bili zenu zote zilikuwa zinakuja milioni 2.
Asante, Mungu akubariki.
Lakini tumeongea na management ya Mama Lucy, CEO, akatufanyia discount ya 20%. Umeelewa? Sikuwa na kazi na hiyo pesa, lakini mimi najua umaskini inamaanisha nini. Mimi nilizaliwa na mama pia alikuwa maskini, kwa hivyo naelewa mali mnatoka na mali mimi natoka, si ndio? Kwa hivyo tumesema next time tukue na mpangilio. Tukue na nini? Mpangilio. Tusifanye mambo hivi hivi ovyo ovyo.
So when he forms a new political party, you don't laugh, you pay attention. And indeed, people are already asking the obvious questions like, is he somebody's project?
Our process for registering our party started way back in 2019 when I was still the governor of Nairobi, when Uhuru Kenyatta was still the president of the Republic of Kenya, when I was still a member, I think, of the Jubilee administration. So I think they are very wrong. And if at all I'm a project, then I'm a project of the great people of Kenya and not anybody else's project.
All right, Mike, we get it. You're nobody's project. But here is the problem. You still can't vie, Mike. I mean, he can register the party, pick candidates, fund campaigns, shape the message, but he cannot be on the ballot paper himself. It's like opening a restaurant and being banned from tasting the food. But that's Kenyan politics for you. Impeached, barred, arrested on live TV, no problem. Just from a party, add some glitter, pick a color that blinds the public, and boom, you're back in business. Ask Rigiji. Kenyan politics is a circus. Some clowns retire, others build their own tents, hire acrobats, sell popcorns, and then try to run the show from outside the theater, but core ground. And that's a wrap, folks. Another week, another batch of obscenities. I am Willis Raburu, and this has been Hold My Mic. I'll be back again next week to remind you why sanity is overrated. Jablies.